I never thought I would find out like this. My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, and when I glanced at the screen, my heart sank. A text message from an unknown number popped up, and the words on the screen felt like a slap to my face. "I can't wait to see you tonight." Who was this woman? My mind raced as I read the message over and over, each time feeling a new wave of disbelief wash over me. How could Justin do this? I dropped my phone, the sound echoing in the silence of our apartment. My chest tightened, and I fought back tears. "This can't be real," I whispered, staring at the empty space where Justin's smile used to fill my heart with warmth. Anger bubbled within me, hot and fierce. How long had he been lying? The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. My thoughts spiraled. Should I confront him? I asked myself. Or should I just pack my things and leave? But then another thought struck me. What if I turned this around? What if I became someone completely different? I could be anyone. I could be someone who doesn't get hurt. And that's when Jade was born. Jade would be confident, mysterious, and untouchable. I imagined her as a woman who would never let anyone in, especially not someone like Justin, who had shattered my trust. "I can do this," I muttered as I sat down at my desk, creating an online persona that felt like a shield against the pain. I started with a new email, a new profile, and soon enough, Jade emerged, ready to take on the world. As I crafted this new identity, I felt a strange thrill. I had a secret, and it made me feel alive again. Would Justin even recognize the woman behind the screen? I smirked at the thought. "He has no idea what's coming," I said aloud, typing out my first message to him as Jade. But as I stared at the screen, my excitement faded into uncertainty. Was this really what I wanted? A part of me craved revenge, but the other part was still hurting. Could I truly find closure through deception? I shook my head, trying to clear my mind. "Focus, Alara," I told myself. "This is just the beginning." I began to type, my fingers flying across the keyboard. "Hey there, stranger. I've heard a lot about you." The words felt powerful, yet the weight of my past hung over me. I remembered the laughter Justin and I shared, the late-night talks, and the dreams we built together. How could he betray me so easily? With each message I exchanged with Justin as Jade, I felt the walls around my heart begin to crack. I saw glimpses of his vulnerability, the insecurities he hid behind his charming smile. What's going on in his mind? I wondered. Was he even aware of the chaos he had caused in my life? One night, as I lay in bed, I replayed our memories. Our first date, the way he held my hand, the promise in his eyes. How could he do this? I whispered into the darkness. The anger I felt was starting to fade, replaced by an unsettling compassion for the man I once loved. Is this revenge worth it? I asked myself, staring at the ceiling. Maybe, just maybe, understanding him would lead to something more than anger. But could I really forgive him? I closed my eyes, wrestling with my thoughts. As I drifted into sleep, I knew one thing for sure. The journey to find Jade was just beginning, and I was both terrified and excited about where it would lead me. Would I discover the closure I sought, or would my quest for revenge only deepen my wounds? Only time would tell. As I slipped into my new identity as Jade, I felt a strange mix of excitement and fear. This persona was everything I wanted to be: confident, mysterious, and completely free from the pain of my past. I started interacting with Justin on social media, and it was thrilling. I could feel my heart race every time I saw his name pop up on my screen. "Hey Jade, what are you up to tonight?" he typed one evening, and I could almost hear the casual tone in his voice. "Just thinking about life. How about you?" I replied, my fingers trembling over the keyboard. His response came quickly. "Just hanging out. Wish I had someone to talk to." I felt a rush of power. I was in control now. I could say anything, be anyone, and he had no idea it was me. Yet, with every conversation, I found myself slipping deeper into a complicated web of emotions. I started to remember our past together, the times when Justin and I were happy. Flashbacks flooded my mind. I recalled the way his eyes sparkled when he laughed, the warmth of his hugs, and the dreams we used to share. I thought about our first date at that little cafe downtown, how he had nervously fumbled with his words but still managed to charm me with his smile. "Remember when we went to that concert?" I typed to him as Jade, trying to stir up some shared memories. "Yeah, that was a blast." "I still can't believe you sang along to every song," he replied, a hint of nostalgia in his words. As I read his messages, I started to see the cracks in his confident facade. He shared little details about his life that showed his vulnerabilities. "I've been feeling pretty lost since everything happened," he wrote one day, and I felt a pang in my chest. I wanted to feel angry, to remind him of the betrayal, but instead, I felt something else. Empathy. Why was I starting to feel for him? I was supposed to be plotting my revenge, not understanding his struggles. "Lost how?" I asked, my heart racing as I waited for his response. I don't know. I feel like I messed everything up. I thought I could handle it, but I guess I was wrong," he admitted, his words hanging in the air like a silent confession. I stared at the screen, feeling a mix of confusion and sympathy. This was not the Justin I had imagined in my head. My anger began to wane as I realized he was just as human as I was, struggling with his own demons. "Everyone makes mistakes, Justin," I typed, trying to keep my tone neutral. "What matters is how we learn from them." He responded almost instantly. "Yeah, but I hurt you. I don't know if I can fix it." My stomach twisted. I wanted to tell him that I was the one he had hurt, that I was the one wearing the mask of Jade while still carrying the scars of Alara. But how could I? I was hiding behind this new identity, and revealing myself now would mean risking everything. As I continued to talk to him, I found myself torn. I had set out to make him feel the pain he caused me, but now I was just feeling sorry for him. The idea of revenge was slipping away like sand through my fingers. "Maybe it's not about fixing everything," I replied, my heart heavy with the weight of my thoughts. "Maybe it's about understanding and moving forward." Justin's silence lingered for a moment before he responded. "You really think so? I just want to be better." His words struck a chord within me. Was it possible for both of us to find a way to heal? I realized that my plan for revenge was not going to bring me the closure I thought I needed. Instead, it was opening old wounds I wasn't ready to face. "Justin, we all have our battles," I typed, the truth of my own struggle rising to the surface. "You're not alone in this." As I sat there staring at the screen, I felt a shift in my heart. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about understanding, about the complexities of love and pain that both of us were navigating. Perhaps it was time for me to confront my feelings, not just for him, but for myself. As I stood in the shadows, my heart raced. I had set up this meeting, thinking Justin would be meeting Jade, the confident persona I had created. But here I was, hiding and watching him from a distance. The cool evening air wrapped around me, but I could barely feel it. All I could focus on was the sight of him. Justin sat at a small table, his expression tense. He looked different than I remembered. The boy who once made me laugh now had a furrowed brow and weary eyes. It struck me how vulnerable he seemed, and I felt a pang of something I had not expected. Empathy. I watched as he checked his phone, glancing around as if he was waiting for someone. I held my breath, unsure of what to do next. I had imagined this moment filled with anger and confrontation, but now all I felt was a strange mix of sadness and curiosity. Why was I feeling this way? Finally, a woman approached him. I could not see her face clearly, but I could tell she was confident and charming. As they spoke, I strained to hear their conversation. Justin smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I could see the cracks beneath his polished exterior. He looked lost. "Jade, right?" he said, his voice low but filled with warmth. "I've been looking forward to this." In that moment, I felt a wave of guilt wash over me. Was I really going to let him believe he was talking to someone else? Someone who was not me? I wanted to scream out and tell him the truth, but I stayed silent. The woman smiled and asked, "What do you want to know about me?" I leaned in, trying to catch every word. Justin shifted in his seat, his gaze dropping to the table. "Honestly, I just want to be honest about myself. I've messed up, and I need to face it." His admission hit me hard. I had come here to see him squirm, to take comfort in his shame. But instead, I felt a connection to his pain. I could see he was not just a cheater. He was a person struggling with his own demons. "Why did you cheat?" the woman asked softly, her voice gentle. Justin sighed, running his hand through his hair. "I don't know. I felt trapped, I guess. I thought I was unhappy, but I see now that I was just scared. Scared of being vulnerable. Scared of losing what I had." His words echoed in my mind. I had felt trapped too, by my emotions and the betrayal. But hearing him speak, I began to understand that we were both lost in our ways. I wanted to hate him, to feel justified in my revenge. But the truth was more complicated. "Do you think it's too late to fix things?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I could see the pain in his eyes, and it tugged at my heart. I wanted to help him, but I didn't know how. I wanted to shout out, to reveal myself right then and there, but fear held me back. What if he rejected me? What if he hated me for hiding? As they continued to talk, I felt my resolve starting to crack. The anger I had held on to was slipping away, replaced by something softer. Why am I feeling this? I thought to myself. This isn't what I planned. I watched as Justin shared more of his story, more of his troubles. I've hurt people, and I regret it every day. I just want a second chance to make things right, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I felt tears welling up in my eyes, and I wiped them away quickly. I couldn't let him see me like this. But how could I confront him? What would happen when he found out who I really was? Would he see me as a traitor or someone who understood him? The conversation started to wind down, and I knew I had to make a choice. I could either stay hidden and continue the game, or I could step into the light and reveal myself. My heart raced at the thought, and just like that, the decision loomed before me. I had come here for revenge, but now I was starting to see that maybe, just maybe, understanding was a better path. As Justin stood to leave, I felt the weight of the moment. I had to decide. Would I confront him as Alara, or remain in the shadows as Jade? My heart thudded in my chest, and the future hung in the balance. The moment of truth was finally here. I stood in front of Justin, my heart pounding in my chest. The air between us was thick with tension, and I could feel the weight of everything that had happened pressing down on me. I had spent so much time hiding behind the mask of Jade, but now I was ready to drop it. "Justin," I began, my voice shaky, "we need to talk." He looked at me, eyes wide, a mix of fear and curiosity written across his face. "Is this about Jade? I thought I was meeting her today." I took a deep breath, feeling the sting of betrayal wash over me again. "No, Justin. You were meeting me. I am Jade." The silence that followed was deafening. I watched as comprehension dawned on him, the shock quickly turning into a whirlwind of emotions. "You?" he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Why would you do this?" "Because I wanted you to see who you really are, to feel the pain you caused me," I replied, my anger flaring up again. "You broke my heart, Justin. You shattered everything I thought we had." He stepped closer, his expression shifting from shock to genuine remorse. Ilara, I know I messed up. I was stupid. I didn't think about the consequences of my actions. I couldn't help but feel a mix of anger and empathy. You didn't think about me. You didn't think about the trust we built together. Why did you do it? He ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident on his face. I was scared, okay? I felt like I was losing myself. I thought being with someone else would fill that void. I didn't know how to be vulnerable with you. I stared at him, my heart aching. Here he was, admitting his mistakes. But that's the thing, Justin. We could have worked through it. You didn't have to run away. I see that now, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I wish I could take it back. I wish I had been brave enough to talk to you instead of hiding behind someone else. I wanted to scream, to lash out at him for all the pain he had caused me. But as I looked into his eyes, I saw the sadness there, the regret. You hurt me, Justin. I felt so alone, so lost when I found out about you and that woman. I know I can't change what happened, he said, his voice breaking. But I want to change how I treat people. I want to be better. I want to be better for you, if you'll let me. I took a step back, trying to process everything. You think that just saying you're sorry is enough? You broke my trust. It's not that simple. I understand, he replied, his voice steady now. But I want to try. I want to earn your trust back. I want to understand you, to connect with you again. Can we talk about what happened? Can we find a way to heal together? His words hung in the air, almost pleading. I felt my heart waver. Part of me wanted to push him away, to remind him of the pain he caused. But another part of me, the part that still cared for him, wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, we could find a way back to each other. I don't know, Justin, I said finally, my voice softer. It's going to take time. I'm still hurt, and I'm still angry. I don't know if I can just forgive you and forget everything. I get that, he replied, his eyes sincere. I just want you to know that I'm here. I'm ready to listen. I want to share my vulnerabilities with you, to let you see me, just like I should have done from the start. As we stood there, I realized something important. Revenge wouldn't heal my wounds. Maybe understanding and connection could. Maybe facing the pain together could lead to something new, something better. Let's start by talking then, I said, feeling a flicker of hope in my chest. Let's talk about everything, the good and the bad. He nodded, a small smile breaking through his sadness. I'd like that, Ilara. I really would. And just like that, we began to peel back the layers of hurt, ready to discover if we could find healing in our shared pain. After our intense conversation, I felt a mix of relief and confusion. Justin and I had laid everything bare, yet the weight of it all hung heavy in the air. We both agreed to take time apart, a decision that felt necessary but also painful. I needed to process everything, to understand what our relationship truly meant now. I spent the next few days in a haze of thoughts and emotions. I would sit at my favorite cafe, sipping coffee and staring blankly at my laptop. I wanted to write, to pour my feelings onto the page, but the words eluded me. Instead, I found myself lost in memories of Justin. Hey, Ilara. You're deep in thought today, my friend Mia said as she slid into the chair across from me. I'm trying to figure things out, I replied, forcing a smile. It's just, everything is so complicated. About Justin? She asked, her eyes narrowing with concern. I nodded. We talked, and it was intense. He's sorry for what he did, but I don't know if I can trust him again. Mia leaned closer. Do you want to trust him? Or are you just holding on to the pain? That's the thing, I said, feeling a knot in my stomach. I'm realizing that I need to let go of this anger and focus on myself. I can't keep being defined by him." Mia smiled gently. "That's a big step, Ilara. What are you going to do?" "I think I need to redefine who I am, beyond Justin. I've been so caught up in our relationship that I lost myself," I admitted, my voice shaky. "Then go find yourself," she encouraged. "You've got this, Jade." The mention of my online persona, Jade, sparked something in me. I had created her to escape the pain and to feel empowered. Maybe it was time to embrace that part of myself fully. Over the next week, I began to explore who I was without Justin. I started yoga classes, something I had always wanted to try but never had the courage to pursue. I joined a book club, diving into stories that transported me to different worlds. Each new experience felt like a small victory, a step away from the hurt. Meanwhile, I knew Justin was also reflecting on his choices. I could feel it, even from a distance. I wondered if he was thinking about how he could rebuild the trust he had shattered. I hoped he was serious about proving his sincerity if we ever found our way back to each other. One night, I received a text from him. "Hey, Ilara, I've been thinking about our conversation. I really want to talk again when you're ready." I stared at the screen, my heart racing. Part of me wanted to respond immediately, to dive back into that emotional chaos. But another part of me knew I needed to take my time. "I'm not ready yet," I typed back. "I need to figure things out first." The next day, I went for a long walk in the park. The sun was shining, and the flowers were blooming, reminding me that life goes on. I thought about forgiveness. Could I forgive Justin? Was it possible to move forward without forgetting the past? As I walked, my thoughts drifted to the potential for love. I had always believed in second chances, but this felt different. It wasn't just about love, it was about healing and growth. When I returned home, I sat down to write in my journal. Today, I realized that healing takes time. I don't have to rush back into anything. I can take my own path and decide what I want for my future. With each word, I felt a sense of clarity. I was learning to embrace my new identity, one that was strong and independent. As I closed my journal, I knew that whatever happened next, I was ready to face it, with or without Justin. The door to forgiveness was opening, but I would walk through it only when I was truly ready. For now, I would focus on myself and the journey ahead. I stood in front of the mirror, taking a deep breath as I prepared to meet Justin again. The last time we had spoken, we had both opened up in ways I never expected. I felt lighter, but there was still a weight on my heart. I was nervous about how our reunion would unfold. Would we slip back into old patterns? Or had we truly changed? When I arrived at the cafe, I spotted him sitting at a corner table, a cup of coffee in front of him. He looked up, and for a moment, our eyes locked. I could see a mix of hope and apprehension in his gaze. I approached him slowly, my heart racing. "Hey," I said softly, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hey," he replied, a small smile breaking through his nervousness. "I'm really glad you came." I sat down across from him, and the air between us felt charged. "How have you been?" I asked, trying to break the ice. "I've been thinking a lot," he said, running a hand through his hair. "About everything. About us." He paused, searching for the right words. "I know I hurt you, and I can't change that. But I want to try to make it right." I nodded, feeling a mix of emotions. "I've been thinking too. It's hard to forget what happened, Justin. I'm not sure if we can just go back to how things were." "I don't want to go back," he said quickly. "I want to build something new, something better. I know it won't be easy, but I'm willing to put in the work. I want to earn your trust again." His sincerity touched me, but I still felt walls around my heart. "Trust takes time," I replied, "and I need to be sure that this is real, that you really mean what you say." "I do," he insisted, leaning forward. I've realized how much I took for granted. I want to be someone you can count on. I've been working on myself, trying to understand my mistakes. Like how? I asked, curious about his journey. I've been seeing a therapist, he admitted, his voice steady. I'm learning why I acted the way I did and how to communicate better. I want to be honest with you, even when it's hard. I felt a flicker of hope at his words. That's a good step. I'm proud of you for taking that on. It's not easy to face your demons. A small smile appeared on his face, and for a moment it felt like we were connecting. What about you? How have you been? I've been focusing on myself too, I said, feeling a sense of pride. I've been exploring who I am outside of us. It's been hard, but I think I'm starting to like who I'm becoming. That's really important, he said, his eyes softening. You deserve to feel whole on your own. As we talked, I began to see the changes in him. He was more open, more vulnerable than I remembered. It felt like we were both shedding our old skins, trying to step into something new. Do you think we can start over? He asked, his voice low and hopeful. Maybe take things slow? I want to try, I said, feeling a mixture of excitement and fear. But we need to be honest with each other. No secrets this time. Agreed, he replied, his eyes brightening. I promise. As we continued our conversation, laughter began to fill the space between us. We shared stories, memories, and moments that felt genuine. It was as if we were building a bridge over the past, one careful step at a time. Remember that time we got lost on that hike? Justin asked, a grin spreading across his face. Yeah, you insisted we could follow the shortcut, I laughed, recalling the day. We ended up wandering for hours. Hey, at least we made a great adventure out of it, he said, chuckling. True, I admitted, smiling back. Maybe we can create new memories together. As the afternoon sun began to set, casting a warm glow around us, I realized I was ready to embrace this new chapter with Justin. It was uncertain, yes, but it felt like the right step forward. I'm glad we're here, I said softly. I really want to see where this goes. Me too, he replied, reaching across the table to take my hand. In that moment, I felt a spark of hope. Through the pain and the journey, I had learned to open my heart again. Maybe, just maybe, love could bloom once more. Share this story if you believe that love can overcome even the toughest challenges. Leave a comment about how an unexpected reunion has changed your life, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories like this one.